Hello, in this video I would like to show you this great Citizen Promaster diver watch. It's called NY0040-52E. So it's the new Promaster dive watch with the black dial and unicolor stainless steel and with the stainless steel bracelet. There are different versions of it. There is even kind of version of it from titanium, which has a slightly different dial. So this version with the stainless steel bracelet is not very available right now. I guess perhaps because a lot of people want to buy it. I think it looks really great. Citizen really did a great job designing this piece. There are a lot of things which are very great about this watch, and two minor details which I think you should know if you want to or consider if you want to buy this watch. So Citizen also builds this watch. These two watches are in some kind very similar. This one is the Fugu, the NY0040-09-EE with the rubber band. They are very similar, both Promaster, automatic diver with day date. But they don't have the same movement in it. The old, what they're still building it. This one has the 8203 from Citizen or Miyota. And this one has a very similar one, but it's called 8204. So it's basically the same movement, but it has hacking function. So you can stop the second hand if you pull out the crown. So let's look at this new Promaster and maybe let's compare it a little bit to the old design. So Citizen produced in the 70s a watch which was called the Challenger or Challenger Diver watch, and right now they presented a new model of the Challenger interpretation made from titanium, and I think they created this version, which is about 300 euro, as a more budget-friendly alternative to the real Challenger reiteration, which costs around about 800 euros. So, but actually I think that they made the better design with this dial than with the Challenger relaunch. Okay, so let's look at it. It has a slightly slimmer bezel in comparison to the original Challenger, and also in comparison to the Fugu, which has proportional somewhat broader bezel, and the Fugu has 42 millimeters diameter. The new one has 41 millimeter diameter. So that's something I like a lot about this design. It's smaller. For Citizen standards, it's almost miniature, because most Citizen watches are bigger than 41 millimeters. So if you look again at the bezel, the Fugu and the new design, the Fugu is easier to grab. The bezel can very easy. You have a good hold. You can rotate it. This new design looks very good, but it's a little bit more slippy. So So I can imagine with wet hands it might be not as easy. But it sounds good enough. I like it. It's 60 stops, so for every second. And it's a little bit less grippy because if you look at the profile, you see that at the very edge there is no grip. There is nothing to hold on, so you have to get it down here to get a good hold, not up there. Then, but I mean, it's still okay. It's still working very fine. Let's hear the sound of the bezel. Okay, in comparison, this model, the sound of the bezel. I think on this model I noticed that the watch is lighter. There is less mass moving, and the noise is brighter, higher somehow. The crown is a screw down crown with the Promaster logo, but it has no crown guards. So like the original Challenger also had no crown guards. If you look at the hands, we see that most prominent, the hours hands has the Mercedes star on it. So a lot of people are associating this Mercedes star with Rolex, and I think Rolex was the first company who would put a Mercedes star on their hour hands on the sports models, but I'm not sure why they did it. I don't think that it really has to do anything with Mercedes-Benz. I don't know, but I don't think that it has any resemblance with the car manufacturer. So the hour's hand is at the partly skeletonized on the part which is closer to the middle. The minute's hand is very long and has a little, like an arrowhead on the top, and the second hand has a little Lume dot on it. So I think I like the arrows very much. I think that the Fugu arrows are maybe a little bit more legible than the new ones, but that might be a matter of getting used to it. Then the watch has the date function with a white background, so white, black letters on white background. The indices are all with Lume, and what I like very much is that the indices at 12 o'clock has a different shape like the other ones. You also see that on the Fugu, there it is even more pronounced that the capital indices at 12, 3, 6 and 9 o'clock have a different shape than the other ones, and the one at 12 o'clock is very pronounced. So I think the Fugu watch, the 0040 and its sisters and brothers, are one of the most legible watches I've ever seen. In general, I would say the old design has a more tool watch aesthetic than the new one. This is more no nonsense than this one, but I still think that's a really great watch. The lume on this watch is very good. You can see it now. So these are the two models now side by side. The new one on the right side, of course. You can see the shape of the lume points is quite different. General, in real world, when you look at it in real world, I would tell that the old design, the Fugo watch, the 0040, has a slightly better lume, yeah, but they have both a very good lume. And I think that the lume point at the bezel is much better on the new one. It's visible, you see. On the old one, it's basically non-visible. That's really a downfall on the old one. On the new one, it's very good visible, but the indices and the arrows and the hands, I think, are on the old design better visible. But both watches have a good long-lasting lume. This, of course, is very, very good, and this is very good too. Not on the same level perhaps, but almost on the same level. So another thing, when it comes to the design of this watch, I like is the way they cut the case. So on this older design, they have this like rounded shape. It feels very comfortable on the wrist, but this feels also very good. And on this watch, they opted for a kind of case shape, which has I don't know how to call that, but it's not rounded. You see it, you see the rounding of the case, but when it comes to the lux, it's like a tangential, you know, it's a straight line going down. That's a kind of case shape I think is also famous for Rolex watches, and fits very good with this kind of I guess Rolex Submariner inspired piece. At least the original Challenger Citizen was, I guess, inspired by some kind of Rolex. This is one of the better looking Citizen watches, that's for sure. I like it a lot. The finish of the case and the bracelet. So on the side we have brushed steel. The bezel is polished steel. The crown is also, I think, polished. Yeah, more or less polished with the bracelet is brushed. Also the clasp is brushed. The back side of the case is also brushed. So it's basically everything brushed except the bezel. Which material is the bezel? Hard to tell. It's the bezel inlay is some kind of plastic, I guess. It also has some kind, already a little scratch here. And the bezel itself, I guess it's from aluminium or maybe steel, I don't know. Now let's look at the back of the watch. On the back it says Citizen Diver's Watch 200 meters. It tells us the numbers with the movement ID 8204, Japan movement, service center repair only, magnetic resistant, stainless steel, and of course it's from Citizen. So I'm happy it is not a view case back, it's a solid case back, and the movement, it's okay, but it's not nice. It's a very basic movement from the looks. So if you look at the bracelet, I like the bracelet very much. I think for the price point, I'm surprised how good the bracelet is actually. It's all solid links with push out pins. The end links are also solid. I like the clasp. It's a milled clasp, and it feels like high quality, or especially for this price. And it has an extension which works like this. And this extension probably isn't usable for adjusting the length of the bracelet. There is no possibility there's no other possibility beside removing and adding links to change the length of the bracelet. The bracelet, again, the clasp is a combination of milled and stamped and bent parts. But I think I looked at it and I have a good impression. I think it's, for the price point, it's a reasonable, well designed. It's obviously made for do stuff. So I'm confident that's a good bracelet. And also it feels nice, the bracelet. Also the watch is quite heavy with 160 grams. It feels nice. It has a comfortable feel on the wrist. So my wrist is 7.5 inch, and that's how this watch looks. I will show the dimensions of the watch later. But the band is 20mm wide, and as I said, the case is 41mm diameter. What came to my mind when I got the watch out of the box, the first thing is it's very high. Later we will see it has 14mm height. That's really a lot. And first I thought that's a deal breaker almost, but I kind of got used to it. And the more expensive version for 800 euro, the titanium Challenger release, has the same height as I saw online, 14mm. So but I think I kind of got used to it already. Then remarkable also, the dial has this rough surface. It's a matte rough surface. It's very interesting. I think I like it. I like it more than lights, like say something like a sunburst or something like this. Especially for this kind of tool-ish watches, I think a matte hands and matte dial is the right choice. So the crown, as I said, is screw down, and it has a second stop. So when I pull out the crown, the second hand stops. push it in again, it starts again. When I push it in, I also can charge the movement by hand, and I can screw it in. So in comparison to this design, this crown is much better. So this design has the advantage that the crown will never poke you when you make something like this movement. Also the rubber band on this watch is really high quality and very comfortable. Very comfortable to wear. Since it has this like spring almost, you can tension the band a little bit, but it never gets too stiff, never gets too strong. And it doesn't move. So this is really a watch that will stay put and will never molest you. But of course, the design of this crown, it's really cumbersome to unscrew and screw it back. So this crown is small, it's hard to get a hold of it. When the watch is wet, you shouldn't operate it when it's wet, obviously, but if you're a little bit greasy on the hands, you have a hard time opening that. On this watch, in comparison, the crown operates very smooth, very easy to unscrew it and very easy to screw it back, and it doesn't really need crown guards. And the Promaster logo, I don't know if it's a coincidence with my unit or if it's meant to be so, but the Promaster logo points upwards when it's screwed down. I like it a lot. I don't know if they did it on purpose, but it's perfectly. What I also like very much, the display and the bezel are perfectly aligned with the crown, with it's very good centered, the bezel and the bezel and the indices and the markings. It's a €300 watch and it's perfectly aligned. So that's really a strong point of Citizen. In every of their models, they have a very good alignment, even with the small budgets. So what does it say on the dial? Citizen automatic diver 200 meters. So it's water resistant to 200 meters and it's ISO certified diver, a real diver watch. What I also like on the watch is the lugs are bent down quite a lot. So that means that it wears smaller and comfortable, more comfortable than other watches which have lugs which point out more straight, which the lugs which come out straight give the watch much more presence on your wrist. And this watch, although it's quite big, it's still okay. No, it doesn't look that big, I think. The only thing is the height of the watch. It's really high. It sits high on the wrist. Look at that, it's like almost like a alien spaceship landed on my wrist. No, it's not that bad. I got used to it and I like the design a lot. I dig it completely. And also it's big and heavy, it's well made, and I feel that I carry it easy. It's good. So what are things that I think you should know if you want to buy this? So it costs €300. I think it's a steal for that amount of money. So I think it's a lot of watch for €300, but it's not sapphire glass, it's the regular glass. The movement is fine. I carried it since 2 weeks, and I didn't measure how much it gained. I think it gained just a few seconds a day, not a lot. It has a very good, out of the box, very reasonable accuracy. So that's not the topic. Then it's an automatic watch, so there's a little rotor in it, and it will charge your movement when you move, but it's only unidirectional charging. So in one direction it can spin free. And if you look at the old model, can you hear that? So that's the rotor spinning in the direction where it's not charging. It's spinning free in one direction. And sometimes it's a non-issue in real world, and you can hear it because the desk is hard and it will make the noise more noisy than it actually is. But this is basically the same movement and it has the same issue, but it spins free now, but it's much less noisier. I don't know why, perhaps because it's heavier, and it or perhaps I don't know why it's less noisy. I think it's because the watch has thicker steel parts and it somehow swallows the vibration and the noise better. I will try to show you the sound of the rotor spinning. And now the noise of the rotor spinning here. So it's noticeable louder on this model than on this model. I think it's a non-issue on both models, especially if you have it on the wrist. Sometimes you feel the rotor spinning a little bit, you feel a little vibration, but you can never hear it, especially if you are in a room which is not 100% quiet. If you are lying in the night in your bed and you play with your watch, you might be able to hear it, but in a real world situation it will be far too loud around you to hear the rotor spinning. So that's one point. The other point is the height of the watch. It's 40 millimeters on a 41 millimeter watch. That's a lot. It's like a little tower. So yeah, you have to decide for yourself if this is for you. And the last thing is I like day-date, but I would have preferred white letters on black background and not black letters on white background. Sometimes the legibility I think would be better if it would be like on this watch with white letters on black background. There is another version of this watch with white letters on black background, yeah, and the steel band, but it's a dual tone. It's a two-tone watch, so the rim of the bezel and the rim of the arrows and the rim of the indices are golden. So that's not my taste. Okay, let's make some measurements. The diameter of the watch is 41 millimeters. The lug to lug distance is 51 millimeters. The lug width is 20 millimeters. Now the height is 14 millimeters. Also you can see the glass is absolutely flat and is a little bit recessed, so the bezel should protect it from scratches if you put it on a flat surface like this. The glass is slightly domed, so it doesn't protrude beyond the bezel, so the bezel protects the glass. But if you watch closely, you will notice the optical effect the domed glass has, and I don't know if you can see it in the video, but it is slightly domed, not much, but just slightly, and on the edges of the glass. I think in the middle of the glass it's more or less flat, but towards the edges it's domed. Maybe the diameter of the crown, it has 6.5 millimeters. The bandwidth on the height of the clasp is 18 millimeters, so it comes down from 20 millimeters to 18 millimeters. As I mentioned, I have 7.5 inch wrist approximately, and that's how the watch is looking with me. And I removed 2 links from this watch. So it has in its package 2 more links than it has now, and I removed 2 full-size links, one on each side, and it fitted me. What else could I say? I can say that it feels heavy. It feels heavy. It feels solid. It's really unusual big watch for my taste. I think 41 millimeter for a diver is really okay in these days. The size should be no problem. I only think that it's a little bit high if you compare it to the older model, so that's quite a difference. The older model is significantly flatter. It has the old model has like 12.5 millimeters versus 14 millimeters on the new model. I don't know if this is really. I don't think it is. They will put this to rest. I think they will still produce this. But I have the feeling that this watch has come to stay. I think it looks way too good to be discontinued easily. And what I've seen on the more expensive model, on the 800 euro model, I have the impression that the case design is very similar. I think that the lugs at the 800 euro model are less curved downwards than on this model. I think that what I have seen, the bracelet and the clasp is on the more expensive model, the 800 euro model, is made from titanium, but has exactly the same dimensions, exactly the same mechanism, the way this parts are bent, the way it is milled, it looks exactly the same, except it's from titanium and not from stainless steel. So I think for 300 euro, it's a really awesome watch. It's automatic, it's a diver watch, a real diver watch from Citizen. It's dated, it has a second stop, so hacking function, hand winding function, great bezel, great bracelet, very massive. So it's a substantial watch, and yeah, I'm completely digging it. I really like this model. Okay, that's it. Have fun with it.